Hi, my name is Yuval Nave. I'm a technical editor for RoadRUNNER Motorcycle Touring and Travel magazine. In this video of the satellite navigation series, I'm going to show how to design your own routes using a route editor. I'll cover the different functions that a decent route editor should have. Let's start designing a new route by opening Tire, and then we'll go to File, click New, and we have a new file. I mentioned in the article that any decent route editor should support at least these functions: adding waypoints to the route by address or coordinates, interactively add waypoints to the route from the digital map using mouse click, double click functionality, delete existing waypoints from the route, reorder waypoints in the route, modify a waypoint's coordinates interactively on the map using drag and drop functionality, rename a waypoint's title, dynamically calculate and display the total distance and time for the route, preview the route's path on the map, load and save routes as GPX files or other file formats, and finally upload routes to the satellite receiver. We'll start with adding waypoints to the route by address or coordinates. Let's imagine that we're going to start from a certain waypoint, in this case the RoadRUNNER headquarters, and the address is shown on the screen. And then we're going to go to another waypoint, which is the White House, and you can also see the address. Let's start by adding the first waypoint to the new route. I'll go to the search bar, the yellow box over here. I already have the address in the clipboard, but you can also type it using the keyboard if you want to do it this way. I'm going to click OK. The point was found. You can actually notice the coordinates over here as well. I'm going to add it to the itinerary. You can rename this to a different name at this point, or leave it this way. I'll rename it to RoadRUNNER HQ. I think it's a good time to do it. And now let's add the second point. Once again, I'll go to the same search box. This time I'll paste the address, which happens to be the White House, because this is the demonstration I'm doing here. You can, of course, use any other address you want to put. Click OK, and the point is going to be added to the itinerary. We can also zoom in a little bit and see the route as it is being shown on the map. This route it's very clear that this route is going through the highways, which is the default for the shortest time. Now let me quickly show you how to add points by coordinates. We'll start with the first waypoint, which is the RoadRUNNER headquarters, and I'm going to add it. This is exactly as before. But the second waypoint, I already figured out in advance what are the coordinates of the White House. This is very useful sometimes, because if you don't know the exact address or you get it from another route, and once I'm adding this, the point is added exactly as if I was putting the address. I can still change the name. I can put the White House over here, even though I enter the coordinates, not an address. It's the same thing. You can zoom in with the mouse wheel, and it's the same thing exactly. Now the second functionality is to interactively add waypoints to the route from the digital map by using the mouse click, double click functionality. Back in Tire, I already have this route, and let's say that I want to add another point, let's say around Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So I can just click over here, and the point is added. I don't know exactly where I clicked. It's pretty rough, but it's in the area. This is useful many times just to plot a general line. Let's do another point over here. And you see that the route editor is adding the points, also calculating the route correctly and adding the right addresses. The next functionality is to delete existing waypoints from the route. We go back to Tire Travel, and let's say I made a mistake. I don't want this point in Harrisburg. I can just go to this point and either delete it from here by doing remove. I can also delete from here by going to the trash bin and remove. And it's very clear that the point has been removed, and you see that the route has been recalculated. The fourth functionality that I mentioned is the ability to reorder waypoints in the route, to move them up or down the list, or to reverse the entire order of the route. Let's start by changing the order inside the list. If I go back to the same route we had before, to remind you, I just removed Harrisburg, but let's say I want to add a point in Lewisburg. So I'm going to double click it, and this point has been added. Great. But then I realize, you know what, I actually want to go to Lewisburg first, and then I want to go to this point. So what I can do, I can go to the 4th point and just move it up. So now it has become the 3rd point and the order has been changed. If I click on the recalculate button over here, you'll see it very clearly. So now this has become the 3rd point and this has become the 4th point. And vice versa. I can also go to this point and move it down the list, which is the same thing as we had before. So it's reversible. The order can be changed. Of course, this can be done for any point on the list. It doesn't have to be the 3rd, 4th. This is just a demonstration. The other functionality regarding to reordering, you can actually reverse the whole order of the route, which can be very useful if you got a route from someone else, or you made a mistake and actually you want to end in some point and not start from it for some technical reasons. So there's a button over here which is called reverse, and what it will do, it will make 1 become 4, 4 become 1, 2 become 3, and 3 become 2. Just reverse the order. Let me show you how it's happening. It's very clear now that the RoadRunner headquarters are now the last point, and the previously last point is now the first point. It's pretty trivial, but it can be very useful if you have very large routes and you want to reverse the whole thing in one shot. Function number 5 is the ability to modify waypoints coordinates interactively on the map using drag and drop technique. Let's see how it's being done. So I might have this point over here, and actually I made a mistake, but I don't want to start doing double clicks and clicks. I just want to drag it. So I can move it, hold the point, and then leave it over here. And the whole route changes. Or I can change Lewisburg, drag and drop, and put it on State College, for example. This is coming from the Google Maps functionality, but even if you don't use Data Travel, you use Basecamp or some other utility, they all should have similar functionality. The 6th functionality is the ability to rename a waypoint's title. Now, this is not important for the GPS to function. It's important for humans, us, the riders, to better understand, to have better clarity. The GPS receiver will work with any kind of title. It's just metadata which is not being used in the actual calculation. Let's see how it's being done in tile. I can go to any point. For example, we saw that before, that we can rename upon creating a waypoint. We can also do it later on if we forgot or we want to change our minds. So I can go again and change it to RoadRunner HQ. This one is already the White House. We can call this, for example, even though I didn't plan to go to any restaurant over there, but I can call it a lunch stop. It's very easy to understand what's going on. The points have meaning. They're not just anonymous addresses. Functionality number 7 is to dynamically calculate and display the total distance and time for the route. Tire to Travel shows you the total distance and total time to complete the route on the top left over here. And as you change the route, for example, if you can drag this point over here, you will see that the route distance statistics change. So now it's more time, maybe similar amount of miles, and so on. This can be very useful to estimate if you can actually finish the route, if it's feasible to finish the route in a single day. Maybe you want to make it shorter, or maybe it's the same distance, but you want to cut some of the time off the route. Another related functionality for the calculation of the distance and speed, if you click on this button over here, which says Roadbook, it gives you a very elegant way of displaying the route in terms of the waypoints and the different times and distances that are expected for each waypoint. It's very useful if you want to, for example, print it or save it as a PDF. And then if you're on the route and you want to get some clarifications, or I don't know, the GPS receiver has stopped work for some reason, you still have this backup either on paper or on an electronic file that you can use for navigation. The next functionality is the ability to preview the route's path on the map. I've already shown this to you in the previous examples, but just to recap this, of course, you can see the route as a purple or blue on the map, and you see the different waypoints. You can also use zoom in. I'm using the mouse wheels, which you cannot see my mouse wheel, but I'm holding in and out. But you can also use the buttons over here to zoom in and zoom out, or the slider if it's easier for you. This is all out of the box Google Maps. And if you want, like I'm doing right now, to drag, you can drag the map, not the waypoints. You can drag the map and just position it better. As for the last two functionalities, the ability to load and save routes as GPX files or other file formats, this is something that I've demonstrated in the previous video. I'll show it again quickly. So you can go to the file menu and select open, and then inside the open dialog, you can select all kinds of formats, GPX in this case, or you have many other formats. For TomTom it will be ITN, and pick the format that you want to load from. And of course the opposite is also true. You can save as, and when you save as, you can select the format, which is the same thing. So if you're working with Garmin, typically we'd use GPX, or if you want to send to other people, the GPX format is very well known. But if you work with the TomTom, ITN will be your first choice. The last functionality is the ability to upload routes to the satellite receiver. I'm not going to demonstrate it. It's fully covered in the previous video under the section that explains how to upload to either the Garmin GPS or to TomTom GPS. Thank you for watching part A of the Designing Your Own Route video. In part B, I'm going to describe the different design methods which are recommended when you design your own route.